my free thought.
Do you hear that? Let's go Gamecocks. This is where I went to college. This is the best school in the country. USC.
This is not ESPN. You're watching Fox News Channel, and that is the University of South Carolina live at 6:01 in Columbia. And somewhere in there, you've got the Keenan High School Marching Band and Ainsley Earhart, who went to the school.
Woohoo! Ainsley, I think they're there for you this morning.
I love them all. I have 85. My sorority sisters are here. Cardboard cutouts of all of us. They really are amazing. It's great to be home back on Southern soil. My dad and my brother are going to be on the show today. My first co-anchor. I was a news reporter and an anchor here at the CBS affiliate. And Curtis Wilson, who is the public information officer for the Sheriff's Department here, he was my co-anchor. He's going to join us soon. We go to my sorority house and we go to the Horseshoe where my grandparents met. We go to the stadium where I grew up going to all the games. It's just so much fun. And we went to the journalism school.
Awesome.
We also have Congressman Trey Gowdy on the show. We have Senator Tim Scott, and we have Senator Lindsey Graham. And you know, Nikki Haley used to be the governor here. Henry McMaster is now the governor. You can see him there on the far right, and he's going to join us at the end of the show.
Ainsley
Good
Earhart.
lineup.
This is your life. Everybody from your life's right there. That's
I've never
awesome.
seen her this happy before.
Wow.
It's true.
Do you know what?
You know, well, we've been to the diners, Brian's
That's
favorite
right.
thing, and now we're hitting the universities around the country.
But you know, Ainsley, what's amazing is as a university, they all stayed in last night to be able to get up early to be on the show behind you. This is perfect attendance. That's a huge crowd.
Hold on, let me ask, Brian. How many of y'all were at the bars last night and stayed up? No one.
There you go.
We have good students.
Times have
Awesome.
changed at the University of South Carolina.
Plead the fifth.
Well, we've got a busy 3 hours, and so the program is going to be live in, as you can see, Columbia, South Carolina, and here in New York. Abby is joining us in the Center Square
Although I
today.
kind of wish I were there right now. It's like a big party in South Carolina.
Oh, we'll get to you
Yeah,
in college.
exactly.
But I also think it's great that not only does Ainsley have great South Carolina guests,
Yep.
she has guests that are perfect for what's happening in the world right now. And in case you missed it, a short time ago, actually within an hour, history was made to a degree. As the North Korean leader walked to the South, they hugged, they talked, they spoke about peace.
That's
Talk
right.
about peace. They vowed to end the Korean War and to denuclearize the peninsula. Steve, this is historic. This is huge, especially coming just weeks before that meeting with President Trump.
Absolutely, and that is one of the two reasons that they're getting together today. One of the things is they're trying to figure out what to do. You know, there was an armistice back in the 50s that ended the Korean War, but it was a little sloppy. There are a lot of loose ends there. So they're trying to figure that out, and there you can see the two of them holding hands. Also, they're trying to figure out...
Holding hands, look at that. It's not even a handshake.
Listen, there's Kim Jong-un himself said this was a very emotional day for him and for the South Korean leader as well. Listen to this.
This declaration shouldn't repeat the tragic histories of the previous agreements. So we are going to work closely together for the full implementation, successful implementation of the declaration.
I mean, the war never ended. We lost 36,000 plus Americans fighting for South Korea after the North invades just years after World War II. We had to quickly deploy our troops from Japan over there and try to save the peninsula. And now we have a 38th parallel and we have a DMZ because there's no peace agreement. And are they doing this a little bit backwards, but if it works, talking about peace and then figuring out what the details are?
The details. So this is the first time that a member of the Kim dynasty has stepped foot on South Korean soil since 1953.
That's right. And
now, I was just going to say that Kim Jong-un can now say, we have built up our nuclear program. He feels like he can play with the big dog, Steve. That's why he has the confidence now to tell his party, to tell the people of North Korea, I've done what my dad and my grandpa wanted us to do. Now we can work with the West.
Absolutely. And there you can see images inside the so-called peace house. It's interesting. As soon as he walked into South Korea, then he grabbed the hand of the South Korean leader and pulled him into North Korea for just a moment, and then they held hands and walked back. Here's the statement from the White House regarding what's going on.
Here's what they say. They say, we are hopeful that talks will achieve progress toward a future of peace and prosperity for the entire Korean Peninsula. The United States appreciates the close coordination with our ally, the Republic of Korea, and looks forward to continuing robust discussions in preparation for the planned meeting between President Donald Trump and Kim Jong-un in the coming weeks. So you can imagine the timing of all this. President Trump was on this show yesterday, and he's hopeful about these meetings. He says, look, he's willing to walk away if they are not going to stand strong and denuclearizing that region. But huge news coming for that.
I agree with you, Abby. It's news. I tend not to be cynical because we're at a point we haven't been before. And guess what didn't happen? We didn't hear about rockets, multi-stage missiles. We haven't heard that Guam is on high alert. We haven't moved an aircraft carrier into the region. These are all positives. I did text back and forth with some of the White House who says we've been down this road before. They're not buying it. But however, in a month or so, we're going to possibly see our president meeting with Kim, and they'll build on what they learned here.
That's right, because the newly confirmed Secretary of State, Mike Pompeo, met with him over Easter. There is something different this time.
What Kim Jong-un said to President Moon, he said, well, I can tell you that I will stop waking you up in the middle of the night with missile testing. That's what he said.
It's actually funny about a nuclear weapon. It's unbelievable. But next hour, we'll hear through translators what they said to each other in an unscripted moment. I thought it was also interesting that came out of our interview yesterday with the president. Mike Pompeo goes to North Korea secret, meeting with his counterpart, and then gets summoned by Kim Jong-un to come over, at which time they meet for over an hour. They take a couple of pictures. So there's something unscripted about what's happening, but we've all know that North Korea might not have a choice economically.
Something is different this time. All right. Meanwhile, something was different about the special report program last night because James Comey was the guest who was supposed to be right at 6 o'clock. Well, according to Bret Baier, he said apparently Mr. Comey is stuck in traffic. Kind of looked like he wasn't going to make it, but he came in about 15 minutes late. Nonetheless, we learned some interesting things. The leader of the FBI did not know who paid, did not realize that the Democrats paid for the dossier. That is hard to believe.
Do you believe it?
No, I don't believe it.
Either.
But here's something else. We have revealed to you, as was discovered by congressional investigators, that Mr. Comey gave a number of documents, memos that he had made after meeting with the President of the United States. He gave them to that guy to leak to the New York Times.
To the law professor.
That's right.
But also to other people. He gave those memos to 3 people now, which changes the entire narrative of this thing.
Top secret documents. But he's not a leaker. You got to listen to his rationale. Listen to this.
I sent Mr. Richmond a copy of a 2-page unclassified memo and asked him to get the substance of it out to the media.
You call him a good friend and a professor, but you didn't reveal that you had hired him as a special government employee for the FBI to work on special projects. Why?
Because it wasn't relevant. He was an FBI special government employee until February of 2017.
Did you have other special? Did you leak other things through Mr. Richmond?
Yeah. I'm smiling, Brett. I don't consider what I did with Mr. Richmond a leak. I told him about an unclassified conversation with the president. I didn't consider it part of an FBI file, all the things I talked about with Anderson.
You wrote it as an FBI director. It was a work product.
No, it was not.
After a work product, after a meeting with the president, you write down what you think are the play-by-play of what took place. You give it to a buddy who now is your lawyer, who turns around and gives it to multiple people in the press. But that's not a leak. Brett was brilliant in that he was able to get him on the record on a whole bunch of things that I think that are going to blow up down the line with the IG report coming forward. There's a couple of things that just defy logic. Number one, he did not know. He knew they were opposition to Donald Trump. So he did not know the DNC and Hillary Clinton paid for it, did not even know that he said, well, I knew the dossier was originally funded by the Republicans. Now, that's a bad talking point for Democrats. Does he really expect that to fly now? On top of that, he was supposed to control the FBI and tell us what's happening between Russia and America. He didn't even know in his own building, two of his key people, Lisa Page and Peter Strzok, are gossiping back and forth about their hatred of the nominee who would eventually become president. He didn't know what was going on in his own building, didn't know what this key document was paid and funded by, didn't even know who Christopher Steele was, just knew he was a dependable source.
And the
How
reason
could he
why,
not know all this?
The reason why that's important, the dossier, is because that's what ultimately, that was part of the evidence that led to what we are now seeing play out with the Mueller investigation with this Russia probe.
Right, and he signed 3 FISA applications to go ahead and do the wiretapping, but he didn't know that they paid for it. Do you believe that? The other thing is just the fact that he leaked this stuff. I mean, we say...
No, Steve, he's not a leaker.
That's right. Okay, he gave these top secret documents to the law professor and to Patrick Fitzgerald and also another attorney as well, all part of his team. But then after he got fired, he said, hey, there's some top secrets in there.
You might want to hand it back to the FBI.
You got to send them back. But he doesn't see anything the matter with them. Trey Gowdy was on last night, and he said, look, what is not leaking to him would be a felony to anybody else.
So if you've not seen this Brett Baier interview last night, if you went to bed early or were out at dinner, we have him on for reaction, but it's also worth going back and watching that whole interview from beginning to end because he has some great questions that you haven't seen on his media blitz tour so far, and a lot of questions that James Comey could not answer.
Right, but he does have a great way of coming off very sincere. You have to dial back and say, what did he just not say?
You say sincere, some people say spin.
Could be, but he is very he's very good on camera, and he knows how to weave a story.
What do you think? Email us at friends@foxnews.com.
Spin or sincere? Let us know.
All right, 12 minutes now after the hour. President Trump hosting a group of wounded warriors at the White House, as would be the tradition, and giving one of those special heroes a special shout-out.
His name is Dan Nivens. Dan served as an infantry squad leader. I also know from personal experience that Dan is a great golfer.
Retired Staff Sergeant Dan Nivens joins us live next.
He has got a golf story. Plus, Diamond and Silk testify on Capitol Hill, but the media claims they are liars. Diamond and Silk join us live to respond.
But first, here is the Kenan High School Marching Band playing with Ainsley at the University of South Carolina. They're going to be with us all morning long. Take it away.
Where's the...
Dan served as an infantry squad leader of Task Force Tacoma in Iraq. While on combat mission, his vehicle was struck by a roadside bomb. Dan was severely injured, ultimately losing both legs. And the Wounded Warrior Project was there to help Dan along his difficult journey.
There, President Trump hosting Wounded Warriors at the White House yesterday and giving one of our nation's heroes a little shout-out.
Yeah, all would precede the soldier ride. The Iraq War veteran, retired Staff Sergeant Dan Nivens, joins us this morning. Staff Sergeant, what was it like to have the president call you out with all those incredible people around you at the White House?
Well, Brian, it was a little surreal, actually. You know, I knew it was going to happen, and at the same time, I didn't know what that was going to be like. But it was really an honor for me, for the Commander-in-Chief to, you know, mention me by name and talk a little bit about how we met and my story.
Yeah.
Tell us about the first time you met. You guys played golf together. How did that go?
It was actually really great. Abby, we was at a fundraising golf tournament at one of his properties, and he was stationed at a par 3 and hitting shots with everybody, saying hi, taking pictures. And you know, there was a lot of pressure going up to the tee box, and I hit this beautiful tee shot, and it landed maybe 2 feet from the pin. And I was super excited, proud of myself. And then when it was his turn, he hit this shot, and it landed on the green, but like really far away from mine. But then, though, I have to admit, it was actually a brilliant shot because then the ball released and just rolled down the green right past mine and actually almost went in.
So what you're saying is you're a better golfer than the President of the United States. That's just all you're saying, right?
I just, no spin zone. I think this was, that was it. That was, not that I'm a better golfer, because,
Well,
I'd
kind of.
love to find out. Now, let's say it that way. I'd love to go find out.
Maybe he'll invite you again.
That's right.
Yeah, I'd love that.
So what would you like to tell us about what you saw yesterday at the White House and the president's commitment to our warriors?
Well,
True soldier ride.
Yeah, what I'd love to say is that it was a huge honor for me to stand on stage with 70 other warriors and caregivers, all that have, done so much for our country and sacrificed so much and have overcome so much in their lives just to get to that stage.
Yeah.
And the fact that they're pushing themselves so hard. I just talked to this one guy, David, who's a brand new recent double amputee. He's been on his legs for just a couple months. And he was out there crushing it and standing up and walking way more than I did when I was a double amputee. And so people like that inspire me. And I watched that whole thing unfold. And the president just said nothing but positive, warm, supporting things about our men and women in uniform. And it was just amazing to be there and be part of it.
And Dan, you lost both your legs in 2004 in Iraq, no thanks to an IED. You've battled since, and you've been inspiring to so many. And you launched Soldier Ride, which originally started out here on our patio years ago with Tony Snow.
Back in 2008.
Yep, and that leaves everybody to support Wounded Warriors. Sergeant, great to see you, great to talk to you, and thanks so much for your time.
Thanks for your service.
Likewise, I wouldn't trade a single day. I'll see you June 1st, Brian.
Absolutely, I'll be hosting Wounded Warriors, a big event.
Terrific. All right, meanwhile, yesterday, Diamond and Silk were on Capitol Hill. What happened? Find out next.
Good Friday morning to you. Welcome back. Some quick headlines now. An evacuation order in effect at this hour after a massive explosion at an oil refinery in Wisconsin. Flames shooting through the giant plume of black smoke in Superior near the Minnesota border. 11 people rushed to the hospital. The blast heard and fell miles away.
Boom! It shocked you.
Kids at my school were crying nonstop.
Really? Why?
Well, because I think a couple of them were hyperventilating.
The cause of the explosion is under investigation. Television icon Bill Cosby found guilty of sexual assault. A jury convicting the man once known as America's Dad on 3 counts of drugging and molesting Andrea Constand.
We are vindicated, we are validated, and we are now part of the tsunami of women's power and justice.
Cosby lashing out at prosecutors, yelling expletives after they suggested he be taken into custody right away. He's now under house arrest as he awaits his punishment. He faces up to 30 years in prison. Abby?
Thank you, Jillian. All right, well, 2 of President Trump's most vocal supporters addressing questions from Congress about their relationship with the Trump campaign. Listen.
The campaign of Donald J. Trump for President Incorporated paid Diamond and Silk $1,274.94 for field consulting. Are you familiar with that?
We're familiar with that particular lie. We can see that you do look at fake news. He urged us to monetize our platform, and there's nothing wrong with that. As an African American, you're not going to make us feel guilty because we're going to get out here and we're going to take advantage of these platforms and monetize, just like everybody else.
Well, after that exchange, some claim they lied under oath, and that was a headline in a number of papers today.
But is that the case? Here to address that story and their day on Capitol Hill are the social media superstars themselves, Diamond and Silk. Great job, ladies. As composed as ever. I have to ask you, just on the money exchange, did the Trump campaign pay you? Do you want to set the record straight for everybody that missed the hearing?
We've never been paid by the Trump campaign.
Where did they get this figure from?
Reimbursement.
So what happened was you were reimbursed for flights, right, from your house to Ohio. It was all on the up and up, and they referred to it in the accounting as field consulting, but really it was just to get you to an event, right?
Absolutely. It was just to get us to an event. And on top of all of that, the Trump campaign, they put out a statement on yesterday. We hope that all of these salacious gossip news sites and news organizations like the very fake news retract all of their lies.
That's right.
So tell us about how yesterday played out. Did you get what you ultimately wanted out of the hearings yesterday? Where do you want this to go from here?
No, we didn't. Because let me tell you something, what I was appalled and what we were offended by was you have these representatives sitting there as if we had no merit, no claim, and they were being very dismissive. And my thing is, I thought they worked for the American people.
That's right.
So why are you questioning me about an FEC report? How much money did Mark Zuckerberg allegedly pay you all? That's
right.
what we should have been asking. So why are you questioning us about that and not questioning us about how we were censored?
That's
so
right.
they were totally dismissive, and I felt offended as an American born on this soil that first black people don't want that represent us, don't want us to obtain the American dream, and second, they dismiss our claim. Yet a DACA person can go up there that's not even born on this soil and they listen all day. So I don't understand that. But listen, we're not going to be silent.
No, we're not.
We're going to keep talking out and speaking out against people that try to censor people's freedom of speech.
And we're very thankful to the white Republicans that allowed us a seat at the table to speak our truth about what's going on, unlike the black men. And the reason why I say that is because we've been on a Democrat plantation. We know what it's like over there. They are the ones that condition black people's mind to make us think that white Republicans don't want us to work, don't want us to have any money in our pocket, but it was the black man that was concerned about how much money Diamond and Silk was making and was appalled about us making money legally.
And it ain't nothing wrong with African Americans obtaining the American dream. That's exactly why we voted for Trump. It's time for black Americans to come up and stop staying stuck like Chuck, listening to these black representatives.
That's right. We want to talk about white racism. It's black on black racism.
That's what
black
we saw.
people need to check themselves first.
That's right.
What Congress people are you referring to? Here's Sheila Jackson Lee and the exchange that both of you got, the three of you had. Listen.
Have you ever been paid by the Trump campaign?
No, we've never been paid by the Trump campaign.
You've never been paid by the Trump campaign?
We have never been paid by the Trump campaign.
Not $5, not $100?
We have never been paid. We have never been paid by the Trump campaign.
Let me ask a specific question. $1,274.94.
We have never been paid.
Looking at she was looking at something that said Field Consulting that figured you were consultants. That's not the case. It was, as you said a moment ago, it was travel expenses.
Absolutely. And they didn't want to hear that.
No.
You know, they wanted us up there to antagonize us about foolishness.
That's right.
And not talk about censorship.
And another thing, we never profit off of that particular reimbursement. That was strictly for flight tickets only. That's
right.
it.
All right, we'll leave it there. Iwan, I have no doubt. Diamond and Silk, great to have you on this morning. Good luck.
And follow them on Facebook.
Where they are fighting Facebook. That's right. Meanwhile, Kanye West's relationship with the president is splitting the left and the right. What do college students think? We've got a panel of students who are going to discuss that with Ainsley live at the University of South Carolina.
And Ainsley has come a long way since her first TV job in South Carolina. We're bringing back someone she knows very well. She's returning with her first co-host turned cop live in South Carolina next.
I love that old footage. But first, happy birthday to our friend Sir Robinson, the Duck Dynasty star, turned 70 years old today. Happy birthday, Cy.
Well, we broke down in Greenville in the middle of a hayfield, but a Bud Light truck pulled up and helped us out. So we did headed up to Philly, party down like real hillbillies, rock the music, mafia, and rock it out.
All morning long, Ainsley is joining us live from her alma mater, the University of South Carolina, USC.
Yeah, and yesterday, hey Ainsley, she took a walk down memory lane and brought us all along for the ride. Am I right, Ainsley?
That's exactly right. Yes, you are, Brian. Hey, Abby. Hey, Steve.
Hey.
It's
Morning.
great to be back home. So many people in my family went to college here, and I have so many wonderful memories. The journalism school here taught me so much about how to be on TV every day. So I went to the journalism school and went to a few other special places. Watch this.
2, ready, and.
Do you hear that? Let's go Gamecocks. This is where I went to college. This is where I grew up. This is Williams-Brice Stadium. I can't even describe how I'm feeling right now. This takes me back. 20 years ago, I was here cheering for Carolina, watching us score right here. It is so much fun, and these stands are packed, even if we have never won a game. I remember I was here one season, we didn't win one game, and everyone comes to support. Southern football is amazing, and this is the best school in the country. USC. When I was growing up, this was a parking lot, and you could tailgate here. Now they have made it beautiful. You had the opportunity at one point to buy one of these bricks, and my brother bought a brick, and this is the first time I've seen it. Griff Earhart is my dad's brother. Wayne is my dad, and my brother is Trent. So he wanted to buy it and put the 3 Earhart boys' names on it because they all went to school here. Really special. This is the center of the campus, the original campus from 1801. It's called the Horseshoe, obviously shaped like a horseshoe. My grandparents back in the 40s, they met here on a blind date. When I was in college more than 20 years ago, we ran down here. All the sorority girls ran down and ran to their sorority of choice wherever they got their bids. My sorority was always planted at the very end of the Horseshoe against the gate. So this is my sorority house, Alpha Delta Pi. This is the Beta Epsilon chapter. And we dedicated this house in 2004. Come on in and meet my sorority sisters. I will say I would not be at Fox News Channel if it weren't for AD Pi and God using this sorority. So, yeah. So y'all embrace it. Have a lot of fun. Don't take life too seriously. I graduated from the journalism school here at the University of South Carolina, School of Journalism and Mass Communications. This is the new facility. It was built 3 years ago. So let's go in, meet the dean, and talk to some of the students. Thank you so much for allowing us to come in and show off the University of South Carolina.
Our pleasure. We're so happy to have you.
This is one of the premier journalism schools in the country.
Absolutely.
Taught me everything I know. You guys called me when you were building the school and you said, you know, would you be interested in helping out? And I wanted to give back to the school that taught me so much and has given me this wonderful life. So this is the
Ainsley Earhart office, and we appreciate your investment.
And one of my favorite professors is right in here. This is Rick Peterson. We're going to come in and surprise him. Follow me. Hey, Professor. Hey, y'all. Hey.
How are you? It's great to see you. Welcome home.
This is your senior year.
Yeah.
My advice is just keep working hard. Say yes to everything. Don't ever complain. Work the nights, work the weekends, long hours. This profession will weed you out in a hurry if you don't love it. If you have a passion for it, stick with it because you'll go all the way to the top. And if you're not in, get in.
That's great.
Ainsley, did you
y'all did
ever
a great
think
job editing that?
Did you ever think you would be right here today on the couch after all those years?
I prayed. I wanted to be so badly, Abby, and God answered that prayer. So I am just so thrilled, and it's nice just to have, you know, it comes full circle. I'm back here on the campus that taught me so much, and I look at those kids, and gosh, that was so long ago, half of a lifetime, and I look at them, and I know that they're so excited about getting their first jobs.
Ainsley, the best sign of the day is behind you, over your left shoulder, dragon energy. That's how you must feel as you see your co-host, Curtis Wilson.
Dragon energy.
I love it.
I love that. Yes, okay, this is my co-host. All those years ago, this is Curtis Wilson.
Aww.
And Curtis, hey, Curtis.
Hey, Ainsley.
Oh, you know I love you.
You know I love you, too.
So Curtis and I were on the morning show, and I remember my boss said, you're going to be working with Curtis Wilson. He was on radio for 15 years here.
Absolutely. And then I get this call about coming to join Ainsley in the set as being an anchor, and I had never done that before. So I have to say thank you for cultivating me into becoming the person that I am today. She's responsible for who I am today. Ainsley, yes. She is.
I don't know about that. So Curtis taught me how to have fun on television.
Okay.
Y'all don't know this, but when I was reading the script, Curtis was like this in my face, like right off the camera, trying to make me laugh. One time we had to do a story. Tell the story about the pig slamming into the house.
There was a pig that was pushing up a fence, but before that story, Ainsley was doing a story on an adoptive mother, but she said adoptive mother, and it made me laugh, so I couldn't get through the pig story. So everybody thought I was laughing at the pig mess. Anyway, it was funny. It was hilarious. Couldn't get back on track one of those mornings.
Curtis is so involved in the community. He has 4 jobs, right? 5 jobs, including he just got promoted to captain. He was public information officer for the sheriff's department. But we would go and speak a lot. And Curtis, my gosh, he is so loved. I'm not kidding. You should run for governor here. But he speaks a lot in the community. And this guy introduced us, and he said Curtis Wilson, and the crowd goes wild. And he said in his co-anchor, Ainsley Lindsay. He called me Ainsley Lindsay. He didn't know my name. So Curtis, still to this day, he walked up, he goes, Ainsley. And then this little boy sent a picture to Curtis, and he wrote to Crustus. So I called him Crustus.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I know.
And Ainsley, which is a great thing. You know what? I got to say congrats to you doing all that you're doing right here for, South Carolina, University of South Carolina, and then, of course, for just the entire nation and country on Fox. I mean, it's amazing. You coming from here, and now look where you are today, which is awesome. And I got to say, I helped you with the personality part of it. Because Ainsley was just so straightforward with news. And she wasn't loose and stiff.
That's great.
She was stiff, so I had to help her with that. But you helped me become a news anchor doing what I do. So, we helped each other. We worked through all that stuff for many years.
Well, you'll always be my good friend. I love you.
You'll always be my good friend.
Thank you. All right.
Hey,
Back
that's
to you
awesome.
guys in the studio.
Ainsley, whoever's got the Brian and Steve cardboard cutouts in the background, they are real jokers.
All right. Hey, Ainsley, just do me a favor. Could you grab a PBA card before you go? I know how you like to speed.
He wants a card to get out of tickets. Brian does.
Got you covered.
Got you covered, Brian.
Ainsley, we will see you all morning. This is so fun. Thank you so much.
All right. It's now 17 minutes before the top of the hour, live from New York. It's time for some headlines, Jillian.
One of those cards as well. Thank you. All right, good morning. Let's get you caught up on some of the stories we're following. Today, a cold-blooded cop killer will walk away a free man. Herman Bell's release coming after a failed last-minute attempt by the Patrolmen's Benevolent Association to block his parole. But a panel of judges will hear arguments to put Bell back in prison next month. Bell, thrown behind bars for his role in the murders of NYPD officers Joe Piagentini and Waverly Jones in 1971. Longtime NBC News anchor Tom Brokaw is denying brand new allegations of sexual misconduct. A former NBC correspondent and Fox News anchor, Linda Vester, says the unwanted advances were made in 1994 and 1995. Brokaw released a statement in part saying, quote, "The meetings were brief, cordial, and appropriate, and despite Linda's allegations, I made no romantic overtures towards her at that time or any other." Let's look at your headlines.
All right. Unbelievable. That's just one of the many stories that happened yesterday. Meanwhile, this next story, crazy. A man finds out his wife was cheating on him from his Amazon Alexa.
Whoa.
Kurt the cyber guy shows us how that happened, but he had nothing to do with it.
Wow. Plus, Senator Lindsey Graham, Congressman Trey Gowdy, Kellyanne Conway, and Senator Tim Scott all here live. We've got a big show this morning.
We do. It's from New York City and South Carolina. Okay, technology is good, right? Well, sometimes technology is tracking you for better or for worse, and it's helping to catch some cheating spouses. Check out this text message that somebody recently shared. It says, "My friend found out his wife was having an affair from the Amazon Alexa. It recorded the man's voice. Isn't that crazy?" To explain how this all works out, here's Kurt, the cyber guy. Wow.
Good morning. Great story. And this is happening more often than we realize. So anyone this morning who has an Alexa or an Amazon-powered device that has Alexa inside of it
that's listening
is going to be running to this device right now, to the app actually that controls it, if they have not been faithful. Because if you've had some indiscretion at the house while the spouse was away, this is what's happening. Alexa records every single command that comes through. And when that command is recorded, it also records the voice clip. For example, this is my Amazon Alexa app.
Yeah.
And I asked just yesterday, how do you say happy birthday in Mandarin? So here I can play back.
Alexa, how do you say happy birthday, Stephen, in Mandarin?
I said Stephen.
Holy
and
cow.
so that's my voice. I was at home. That's in the kitchen. But guess what? If I heard somebody else's voice there while I'm away, I'm going to say, well, who is that? And that's what's happening. And this is how spouses are catching each other.
Apparently, the man who discovered his wife was cheating on him looked at the app and found out she said something like, hey, Alexa, turn off the lights. And middle of the day.
Yeah, those lights are getting turned off at that house, aren't they?
No kidding. So how do you, okay, for openers, if you don't want that kind of
monitoring
paper trail.
Yeah, don't use the device. The fact is, that's a great feature of the device. It helps it understand your voice and what you actually want to say. So a lot of people are not going to turn that off. The big thing is just realize what level of privacy we have given up to have these conveniences, because it's all around us.
Absolutely. It's not just catching cheaters. It's catching everything you say in the house.
It is. And it's just another reminder that our privacy is out the door, and great awareness on just these tips. Own your digital footprint.
Sure.
Everything that you're doing, you got to have greater ownership about it. You have to really understand the terms and conditions. You got to know what you're signing off on. Also, be your own bouncer. Ask each one of these online services that you sign up for if that's what you want. Do you want to be giving it that much power, and bounce it out if it doesn't belong there?
Quick exit question. Is Siri on your iPhone the same as that?
No, totally different. Apple is smelling like a rose right now. And the reason they are is because they don't want to take our information and try to resell it or to use it to sell us more things. Instead, they're using it just to sell their own hardware. So on my podcast right now, by the way, amazing interview with a privacy expert who trains the FBI, and we'll get into those privacy tips.
And you can check out cyberguy.com.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kurt. Cautionary tale. All right, straight ahead, Kanye West's relationship with the president is splitting the left and the right. What do college students think? Panel of students live from USC next.
Here in a small town where it feels like home, I got everything I need.
Hello, everyone. This is the University of South Carolina. This is the Thomas Cooper Library right here with the fountain. Everyone goes there, does a lot of studying. It's a beautiful campus, and I'm so proud of these students here. Some of y'all are seniors. You're going to be looking for jobs. I know that's stressful. Today is the last day of school, right? Or class, and then exams next week. Monday's the last day. Okay, say your name and what year you are.
So I'm Maria Teles, and I'm a senior.
I'm Taylor Queenfield, and I'm a senior.
I'm Yaneli Piazza, I'm a senior as well.
Okay.
Stephen Corbett, I'm a senior. I'm Alan Devlin, I'm a senior. I'm Jacob Vining, and I'm a sophomore.
How are y'all feeling being seniors? I know that was the most stressful part of my life because everyone asks, have you gotten a job? Where are you going to work?
It's very overwhelming. I want to cry every day.
You're going to find something. Don't worry. And who else is a senior? How are y'all feeling?
I'm working on it.
You're working on it? Do you have a job yet?
4 years went by fast. I'm going to graduate school following.
Good for you. Where are you going to go?
Columbia University, New York.
Amazing. Give me a call. I'll be there if you need anything. If you need a home-cooked meal or you want me to wash your clothes, I'll do it for you. Okay, let's...
I'm hoping to get there soon.
You will.
It's been a good ride.
You will. Do not stress. I promise. You can get through it. You will. Okay, let's talk politics. Kanye West, y'all probably know this story. He said he loved President Trump, supports it. The left is losing it. So John Legend, his friend, sends him a text and says, I hope you'll reconsider. You're way too powerful and influential. So many people who love you feel betrayed. Don't let this be your legacy. Kanye, in love, writes him back and says, I love you, John, and appreciate your thoughts. You bringing up my fans or my legacy is a tactic based on fear used to manipulate my free thought. Okay, who wants to talk about this one?
I think that Kanye and whoever he decides to share dragon energy with doesn't have that much of a effect on our political, opinions. Kanye isn't that important at the end of the day. I want to know his views on specific positions, not his general idea of Trump.
Alan, right behind you. A lot of people have these political conversations. It's gotten so tense. How do we get back to where we can agree to disagree?
I think one of the more important things that we can do as a nation is make sure that our democracy isn't drowned out in the ignorant and disheveled shouts of disagreement. So just continuing to ensure that we listen to each other is how we're going to get there.
All right, great. Thank you so much for being here. God bless you all. I know y'all are all going to be great. Okay, back to you guys in the studio.